What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo, and today we had a really good game. We had a couple of good games of basketball, actually, and I just want to talk about more specifically this game. Now, this is the second game that they had between each other, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. I'm pretty sure this is the other one that actually went to overtime. They actually had two games. That's pretty cool, honestly, and they both went to overtime. They only have this team only has three losses, and you may be like, "Oh, well, three is a lot right now." But first off, their first loss, yeah, it was against Chicago, and Chicago's actually doing really good this season. And they have two losses against what I consider to be the second best team in the NBA. So I can't even really give them that much doubt in it because they also were really competitive in this game, especially in the other game that they had. They were still in the overtime. So yeah, let's just talk about both of these games, and yeah, just overall what I'm feeling about both of these teams. More so the Cavaliers though, because there are just some things about this Cavaliers team that may just make them like champions for a couple of years. You never know. But let's just get into it. Also, it's cold as hell in Los Angeles. Also, rip takeoff. I know that this is more so a basketball video, but rip takeoff. I just hate when black people do not live to the age of 30 or older. Black men do deserve to live longer. Now let's get into the game. So the thing about this game is I actually did watch most of it. If not, I pretty much watched like damn near every second of it. So yeah. Even though the stats don't suggest this, Jason Tatum had a really good game. Yeah, he had horrible turnovers, and yeah, he didn't shoot the best from the field. But honestly, one of these blocks, man, to send it to overtime, man, you just can't really replicate that. So that's the reason why it's there. Boston actually shot horribly from the field this game, and it's not necessarily that they got like really bad threes. It was more so they had to rely on threes a lot more because like this interior defense from the Cavaliers is very reminiscent of the Bucks from last year. They just didn't have really the they didn't really have the facilities, let's just say, to really keep up with this. So yeah. One thing about the Cavaliers is even though they had like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Caris LeVert all shot really well from three, actually, especially when you combine them all. Literally everyone else did not make a three this game, which is kind of upsetting. Like I'm not gonna lie, if these guys just hit like one, two, one, and one three, like this game would not be like anywhere close to where it was. But then again, you could definitely say the same thing for this team. That being said, like a guy like Jason Tatum missing that much threes is definitely concerning. Maybe even a guy like Marcus Smart not making another one, definitely an issue. But again, these are just game by game things. You can never really be like too upset about one of these things, especially because Boston did get to the line a lot. These teams were in the bonus a lot during this game, and that's definitely something to really pick up on. This is Donovan Mitchell's like first full game on the court with their Donovan Mitchell actually, and that's actually pretty cool, man. As you see, he's actually a really good like playmaker, of course. 12 assists on one turnover. You love to see it. Donovan Mitchell, I think he did have a solid game, but like there's definitely times where you kind of want the ball in someone else's hands. But I'm not gonna be complaining about it because they're still trying to work the kinks out. Even a guy like Jared Allen, he's still trying to find some like type of space in this offense. And once these guys are able to roam around where they really want to, things are just gonna go in the right way because a guy like Caris LeVert is actually a really solid tertiary ball handler, especially as an assist creator. Let's just look at his assist numbers this year because they're actually like really really good. They're surprisingly good because Caris LeVert is actually having like kind of an outlier year in terms of assist numbers, and it's like kind of great. Like six, this dude is averaging 7 assists on like 2.5 turnovers. He's not like this. Like he's not like this. This is by far his best like playmaking season. Like it's not even close. Like I don't get it. And considering that Donovan Mitchell doesn't even have like a season, well, he was doing a lot of playmaking this season too, but like yeah, he also had like a lot more turnovers, and that's the reason why I'm like, Caris LeVert may be him in terms of like the tertiary ball handler role. The thing about Caris LeVert right now though is like he's shooting like really bad from two, and that's really concerning for this roster. But again, we're just gonna have to like make do with what we have right now for the Cavaliers in terms of their just games and whether or not they're able to maximize Caris LeVert's talents in terms of the scoring aspect. He's more of an on-ball scorer. even though he's shooting really well from three. But yeah, I do expect Karis LeVert to at least be better from two, and if he's able to keep up with the playmaking, man, this team is going to be dangerous. But yeah, let's just get into. Do we want to get into film? Let me check. I'll talk a little bit more before we get into film. We're at the 5 minute mark. So I think one of the things about Darius Garland being on this team that's going to be really, really good to see is that, again, the playmaking is mostly there, but there are games or there's times at this point where this dude is just electric from three. And of course, I think that Darius Garland is one of the best off the ball shooters in the league. And even then, he's also one of the really best on the ball shooters. So seeing him on the court was able to really just open up a guy like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley for some easy baskets, especially Evan Mobley. If I'm not mistaken, pretty much almost like I'm pretty sure most of these baskets that we're about to see are actually going to be assists. Like there, it's crazy, man. Let me just check real quick. Like, yeah, technically this is an assist, but it's more so like self-creation from Evan Mobley that he just actually got the dump pass from Donovan Mitchell. But that's still pretty cool for a guy like Mobley to really do this. I do expect Mobley to have such a great year, especially because he's a really, really great defender. We're going to see some clips from him later on, and that's also another assist. But we're going to see some more clips from him later on, and we're just going to see how he's just he's just him on defense. We've never seen a guy like this be this good this early on. Another assist, by the way. We've never seen a guy this good on defense early on that's not like one of the best defenders of all time, you know? Okay, pretty much all of these were assists except for this turnaround hook shot, which is actually pretty cool because most of these were actually created either from Donovan Mitchell's drives or from Darius Garland just being very crafty. Darius Garland is also one of the most craftiest players in terms of, picking up his ball, doing a lot of dribble moves, just kind of making the opponent kind of guess where he's supposed to go, even though he already knows where he's going to go. And he's just going to have the defender on his feet at all times, which causes Evan Mobley and Jared Allen to, of course, what I already said, to get easy opportunities. Now, for the Boston Celtics more so, early in this game, they actually had like a crazy number of assists. They had like 13 assists on like, I think it was 16 or 17 shot attempts. It went down in the second half, I'm pretty sure. But like in the first half, they caught on fire, honestly. And I think a guy like Malcolm Brogdon did shine in this game, especially when he was cutting. It really did kind of hamper a guy like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, even though they're one of the bright spots on their defensive game, because he kind of just was in there. Well, let me say it a little bit better. He was able to kind of catch them off guard in terms of their rim protection, and that's what happens when you have a really smart cutter with a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, of course. I don't really think that anyone else really had a strong offensive game, though. Like, we're looking at it right now. No one here had a really strong offensive game. But, this team is also one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Again, these both are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. So there's not really much to complain about. Even though these guys did, catch up on a lot of free throws. This is what you, like, if you're not hitting it from anywhere, pause, you're going to have to hit it from the free throws. But now we're going to get into the film and just a little bit of breakdown. So, yeah, let's get into it. And this is a very smart play from the Cleveland Cavaliers. They actually have a guy like Isaac Okoro cutting to the top, getting several pin downs from Robert Lopez and Dean Wade. He goes to the top. A guy like Darius Garland is starting to move around. And this actually does lead to a really good cut from Kevin Love at the top, where Robert Lopez does receive the ball. Darius Garland is going back. But this does leave like Marcus Smart to kind of an island. He kind of gets caught ball watching and trying to get Darius Garland, but this is actually a really, really good recovery from Jason Tatum, which is why I still want to say this team in Boston is still one of the best teams in the NBA. 4-3 does not mean anything. Even though there are teams that are very concerning in terms of their record, I think that if you're going to be concerned about Boston, it has nothing to do with their record. Absolutely not. Like, look at this recovery, man. This dude is perfectly just read the play. Absolutely fantastic. One thing that Boston did in this game that they didn't really do in the other game is that they actually did trouble Donovan Mitchell a lot, especially with sides. A guy like Al Horford sticking to his hip, and he's able to really just make him have two options, really rather to go up with it or make the difficult pass to Darius Garland, who has Marcus Smart chasing after him. So I think that it really makes sense that if they were to be in a series, I think that Al Horford could see some minutes on Donovan Mitchell, which is going to be really good to see. And of course, he has played some really nice defense against pretty much everyone in the Eastern Conference. And Donovan Mitchell's not an exception. Boom. He gets blocked for it. He should have got that ball back. I'm not going to lie. That box off of Mitchell. Shout out reigning defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, for really just pounding my boy Garland in his first game back, man. But back to what I was talking about when it comes to Darius Garland being one of the best in terms of dribbling and making it so that he can create space. It's not always you have to create space for yourself, but it's always you have to create space for others. This is a really good version of why I say you need to create space in terms of having dribble moves. A guy like Kyrie doesn't always consistently create space, but I think that a guy like Darius Garland having one of these type of handles makes it so that he can really just create anything out of nothing. So right now he's having Al Horford on an ISO. He gets Al Horford up, matches his hip, and then essentially not Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland does cut right here because he has essentially Al Horford in a mixtape. Like he can't really do anything about this. And once he blows past him, it makes it so that he not only created space for himself, but as we're gonna see, the only person who can rotate towards Darius Garland at this point is Jason Tatum. And guess who's he's guarding? The big man. He creates space for him to make the lob. He did what he needed to do, and he created the space for the teammates around him. That's what I'm talking about when I say I want my point guard to really make space for the others around him. Also, earlier when I was talking about one of the best defensive possessions I've ever seen in terms of sending it to overtime, this is what I'm talking about, man. This dude, Jason Tatum, just matches him hip for hip. He's able to really just force up a bad shot from Donovan Mitchell. And not only that, he's able to recover and actually just straight up block it. This is what you want when you talk about a defensive superstar, two-way player. He is going to be him one day. And he may win him a championship even this year. I do expect high things from Jason Tatum, especially on the defensive end. He's not getting talked about it enough, but he's becoming one of the best perimeter defenders in our league right now. And we're just seeing it with our own eyes, man. Also, just for you guys to kind of get a note of what happened in the last quarter, yeah, pretty much everyone was going off. Everyone. Except for Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown did not go off this game. I don't know how he was plus A. It was probably because he had the minutes with Al Horford, but yeah. It seems like they did not have the best contribution from Jaylen Brown after the first quarter. In the first quarter or two, he was actually pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, he did shoot really efficiently from like the first half. Yeah, around 50%. I don't know what happened after that. Like after that, I don't. He was just throwing up bullshit, and it was not going in. Shout out to Michael Porter Jr. That boy does not know how to throw up a bad shot. But yeah, Jaylen Brown, he just gotta chill out, man. Especially when it comes to stuff like this. Overtimes do get tricky though, because if you guys remember the overtime between the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks, actually, I think they, as a combined, scored like 6 points. It was nasty, and even then, I'm pretty sure the overtime between the Miami Heat and the Spurs in the 2013 finals, they only scored 4 or 5 points combined. It was something crazy like that. Also, shout out the Cavs for making offense out of defense, because right now we're going to see Jared Allen just making the block. Darius Garland moving up the court, and he's seeing Donovan Mitchell cutting from the back on a fast break, and essentially there's no one else to cover him, man. And this is where Donovan Mitchell and the Darius Garland connection could really shine in the regular season. So yeah, it's been your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo. I hope you guys are having a great one. And I'm going to be talking about how these two teams are going to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.